A game about dispatching superheroes from an office cubicle sounds pretty boring on paper, but Dispatch is becoming the best surprise of 2025.
Wait, so you want me dispatching? What's that even mean?
This isn't your typical superhero power fantasy with explosions and world-ending threats. Instead, you're Robert Robertson, a broke hero whose expensive mech suit just got destroyed, and now you're stuck managing a team of reformed villains while dealing with office politics and your own failures. With Aaron Paul, Laura Bailey, and half of Critical Role voicing characters, this episodic adventure is dropping weekly, and it's absolutely worth your attention. So, let's start with why this game exists in the first place. Way back in 2018, Telltale Games shut down, and it left this massive hole in gaming that nobody has really filled ever since. These were the people who made The Walking Dead, The Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, basically the entire episodic narrative genre. And when they collapsed, a bunch of those developers went and formed Ad Hoc Studio. We're talking about the actual writers and episode directors who crafted those stories that you stayed up all night playing through. They spent years working on different projects, even helped with The Wolf Among Us 2, but Dispatch is their first major original game. And right from the announcement at the Game Awards in December of 2024, people started paying attention. The demo dropped in May of 2025 and absolutely blew up on Steam with overwhelmingly positive reviews. This wasn't just some indie project flying under the radar, it got featured at the Tribeca Festival. Then, in July, Critical Role Productions announced a partnership for merchandise, tabletop games, and even an animated series. That is how much confidence everyone has in this property.
Oh, bruh, I almost went in my pants.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about what makes Dispatch different from every other superhero game. You play as Robert Robertson, and yes, that is actually his real name, which the game absolutely roasts him for.
Hey team, this is your dispatcher, Robert Robertson. I'm starting my first shift.
Better known as Mecha Man, Robert's whole identity is wrapped up in this multi-million-dollar mech suit that lets him fight crime. But unlike other heroes who have actual superpowers, Robert is just a regular guy in expensive armor. And in the opening of the game, that suit gets absolutely totaled during a fight with his nemesis. Suddenly, Mecha Man is lost, just this broke guy named Robert, who's grieving his father who was the previous Mecha Man. But then he gets a job offer to work as a dispatcher for a corporate superhero firm. Not as a hero, but as the guy behind the desk sending other people off to do hero stuff. Specifically, he's put in charge of the Z-Team, which is literally a group of ex-villains trying to reform. These aren't world-ending bad guys, they're small-time criminals who made mistakes and wanted a second chance. And Robert has to manage them from a boring office with gray carpeting and cubicles while hoping the company will eventually fix his suit. This is not a game about fighting aliens or saving the universe. It is about mundane hero work like rescuing cats from trees, stopping petty theft, and dealing with office politics. The stakes here feel real though, because they're human-sized problems, not these huge cosmic threats. And that's actually exactly what makes this game work.
This is incredible, Roy.
But let me run through the voice cast real quick, because this game has a seriously insane list. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and BoJack Horseman voices Robert, and his performance captures both the wit and exhaustion perfectly. Jeffrey Wright, Laura Bailey, Travis Willingham, Matthew Mercer, basically half of Critical Role is also in this game. But then it gets wild, because they've also got Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, Alana Pierce, and Young Gravy. Yeah, that's right, Young Gravy is voicing a character in a superhero workplace comedy.
Why are you out here?
Too damn big.
Well, you want a drink?
Sure.
You want two?
Sure.
Every performance though feels so natural. I mean, the banter between characters lands and the emotional moments hit very hard. When you hear these characters talk, it doesn't even feel like voice actors are reading lines. It feels like real people having real conversations, which is exactly what the game needs.
You gonna eat those Twinks?
That's not what they're... You know what? Help yourself.
So, Dispatch is basically split into two completely different gameplay styles that somehow work together amazingly. First, you've got the interactive movie segments that play out like a Telltale game. You're not directly controlling Robert walking around, instead you're making dialogue choices and hitting QuickTime events. These segments have less interaction than even the Walking Dead games, but the writing is so sharp that you don't really mind. Every conversation matters. I mean, who you agree with, who you challenge, how you respond to your coworkers, it all matters. And yeah, you'll see that familiar X will remember that text pop up after a big decision. But then you've also got the superhero management sim side, which was the biggest surprise for me. You're looking at an isometric view of your section of LA, and icons start popping up showing emergencies. A cat stuck in a tree, a robbery in progress, life-threatening situations, all happening at once. Each hero on your Z team has stats: strength, intelligence, charisma, that kind of thing. You need to match the right hero to the right situation based on their specific abilities. Send someone with high strength to stop a runaway truck. Send the smart one to hack a security system. But every hero does need time to complete a mission, and they need more time to rest afterwards. So you're constantly juggling who's available, who's tired, and which emergencies are most urgent. Send multiple heroes to one mission, and they'll probably succeed. But then you're shorthanded for the next crisis. It genuinely gets tense when your whole screen is covered in blinking red icons and you're running out of people. I mean, the game gives you this tabletop RPG feel where you're rolling the dice hoping that your team can just pull it off. One character is a man-bat who switches between a smart human form and a hulked-out beast form, flipping his stats completely. Then you can also level up your team and allocate new stat points to customize them for different situations. And the results of these management sections actually affect the story during the movie segments. If you screw up and someone gets hurt, that bleeds over into the narrative and changes how much characters interact with you.
I make the calls, not you.
Here's some advice. You're right at home behind that desk because you're no hero.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about how you actually play this game, because it is quite different from most releases. Dispatch has 8 episodes total, and they're releasing in weekly pairs through November 12th. The first 2 episodes dropped on October 22nd, then you get 2 more episodes every week after that. This is old school Telltale episodic gaming, and honestly, I kinda miss this format. There's just something about waiting a week between episodes that really builds the anticipation and lets you think about your choices. You're not binge playing the whole thing in one sitting, you're getting invested over time. The game also has a deluxe edition that comes with a digital art book and 4 digital comics. And what's pretty cool is that the comics actually expand on the characters and the world between episodes. Each episode seems to run from about an hour to roughly 90 minutes based on the first 2, so you're looking at roughly 8 to 12 hours total. It's a pretty solid length for a narrative game, especially at this price point. The weekly release also means the community gets to discuss and theorize between episodes. People are already debating which choices matter and what consequences they'll have later. And based on how Telltale games used to work, your decisions will probably have some impact on the ending.
You make your own destiny.
Where'd you get that? Kung Fu Panda?
Liking.
Boomer.
But Dispatch has this really interesting art style that walks a line between comic book and stylized realism. The character models are expressive with clean lines and exaggerated features that sell both comedy and drama. But the lighting is where this game really shines, with deep blues, amber highlights, and soft reflections everywhere. Even the boring office with its gray cubicles and fluorescent lights somehow look beautiful. And the music is used sparingly, which actually makes it more effective when it appears. Most of the time you're hearing ambient sounds, conversations, just the hum of the office. Then when a big emotional moment hits, the music swells and it feels earned rather than manipulative. Oh, and for streamers, you can replace the copyrighted music down in the settings, which is genuinely thoughtful. But what really makes Dispatch work is the writing, which honestly shouldn't be surprising given the team behind it. The dialogue is witty without being overly snarky, which is a pretty tough balance to strike. Robert pokes fun at his situation and his coworkers, but it never feels mean-spirited. And underneath the comedy, there's real emotion and weight to the story. Early on, Robert meets his old babysitter Chase, and there's this line that perfectly captures millennial humor.
We joke, we laugh, we suppress our trauma. Alright, enough of this feeling shit.
That one line tells you everything about just how these characters cope with their problems. The game deals with grief, failure, inadequacy, and trying to find meaning after losing everything. Robert poured his entire life savings into that mech suit, and now it's just scrap metal. He's living in a pathetic apartment that reminds you of True Detective's Rust Cole. The game doesn't shy away from showing how being a superhero has wrecked this guy's life, but it also doesn't wallow in mystery. It finds humor and hope in small moments. This isn't just a comedy game with superhero dressing. It is a story about finding yourself after hitting rock bottom.
A real hero puts their on the line.
Come on!
But that pretty much covers everything you need to know about why Dispatch is the next big episodic hero game. This game definitely gives me Invincible vibes, and honestly, I'm already hooked and really can't wait for the next release. But now I want to hear it from you. Are you planning to pick up this game and play along weekly? Or are you waiting until all the episodes are out? If this breakdown got you interested in Dispatch, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We got new videos every week.